Hi, I'm Lisa Leiter. In Chicago Business Today, hospital mergers. There could be a big suburban hospital merger on the horizon. Crain's this week is reporting that Central DuPage Hospital is in talks about a merger or major partnership with Delnor Community Hospital, about 10 miles to the west in the Fox River Valley. Sources tell Crain's that Delnor may be talking to other hospitals too. A deal between two financially strong independents could create a powerhouse in the fast-growing west suburban market and could trigger another round of marriages among local health systems. Mike Callias wrote the story in this week's paper, and he joined me to talk about it. So Mike, why all of this interest in Delnor?
Well, I think you probably have to look first at its location. It's in a really desirable location in the Fox River Valley, affluent patient. It's in Geneva. It draws patients from St. Charles and Batavia. So that means you're going to have a lot of patients with private health insurance, which is what hospitals want financially. And it's a well-run hospital. It's profitable. It's remained profitable even in the last couple of years, which has been a rough patch for hospitals. Normally, if you see a hospital like this looking at some sort of partnership with another hospital, larger hospital, it's usually an access to capital issue. They might need capital for infrastructure. IT is a big one. I mean, an electronic medical record can cost tens of millions of dollars. So usually in these cases, the access to capital is a big part of the equation.
Are your sources telling you that Delnor needs a partner, or could they survive, financially and thrive going forward in this growing market as an independent?
No, I think they'd be fine for several years, just like a lot of these suburban hospitals. But I think a lot of people see the the direction that the industry is going, partly accelerated by health reform, and that is there's going to be less money in the system. Both from the federal government, private insurers are trying to squeeze costs, and so I think people feel like it's easier to do those things as part of a larger system, and I think that's why even a financially sound place like a Delnor or any of the suburban independents like Elmhurst or Northwest Community might be looking at combinations or affiliations that might help them to get through to that sort of next phase in healthcare, where you're going to have to be more efficient and you're going to have to show your quality.
What about Central DuPage? Where do they stand in all this?
To the extent that they want to acquire or merge Delnor, it's probably a market share, a way to grow market share in the western suburbs. I mean, that place already, its CEO Luke McGinnis has been there for 7+ years now. He's really built the hospital up tremendously. I mean, he's poured a lot of money into it. They have great clinical programs in like orthopedic surgery and stroke. They have affiliations now with like Children's Memorial and Cleveland Clinic, and so whether it be Delnor or something else, I think he's interested in expanding beyond where they're at now.
Will Delnor have any other suitors? Are we likely to see a bidding war here?
Well, our sources say that there is more than just Central DuPage, that they're talking to more than just CDH. What's interesting about this is you have two suburban hospitals talking, where a lot of the activity we've seen in the last several years has been the big university hospitals downtown acquiring a suburban hospital. From an academic hospital standpoint, I think Northwestern probably makes the most sense. They just last year bought their first suburban hospital in Lake Forest. And then lastly, I mean, you have to look at some of those other suburban independents, and it might be that you see maybe not an outright merger, but some sort of merger light, where they combine some business operations and maybe some clinical programs to get those efficiencies, but still try to maintain their own brand identities. That could even be what ends up in the Central DuPage Delnor deal too.
And if a deal should get done with Delnor and any other partner, is that likely to trigger another wave of deal making in the hospital sector locally?
I think it's possible. I mean, we've already seen a lot of activity in the last few years. It's kind of slowed down, I think, with the recession, but Chicago's more ripe for consolidation than most places, because it's relatively fragmented compared to markets like Milwaukee, where you've got one big system, Boston. There's different cities where you've got one large health system and fewer of these big independent suburban hospitals, which is what Chicago has. Whether it be the Delnor CDH, if that happens, or another deal, I mean, I think as soon as one of those happens, a lot of hospitals already are talking, and it's going to drive some more of those discussions.
Okay, Mike, well, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Lisa.
And that's this edition of Chicago Business Today. For more on this story, be sure to check out this week's print edition of Crain's or chicagobusiness.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.